Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. The story begins with a war between humans and the Demon Lord's army. The Demon Lord's skeletons are very powerful as they give the humans new body piercings using a sword, but the humans have heroes blessed with amazing powers on their side. Some are even able to heal the giant holes in their bodies. Inside the castle, the Demon Lord Leonis is told by a shadow assassin named Sherry that all their fortresses have fallen and their castle is next to be attacked. A giant tree-like creature emerges outside to take control of the fight, and a dragon attacks the castle. This infuriates Leonis. After hearing that his generals have been defeated, Leonis condemns the humans and summons his staff as he is prepared to destroy them. However, his loyal companion, strangely named Blackus, reminds him that he made a promise to the goddess of rebellion, Roselia, to do something when he was still human. As his castle is being destroyed, Leonis vows to fulfill his promise to the goddess. He drops his staff and decides to accept defeat. Leonis doesn't take his decision lightly, however, and promises to rise from the dead after 1,000 years to reclaim his throne. 1,000 years later, two girls explore the ruins of the castle Leonis. The girl named Roselia is reminded that their mission is to investigate the underground ruins that emerged as a result of an earthquake. They are to search for the nest of monsters called voids, but combat is only permitted for self-defense. As they walk, they notice that there are no signs of the void, but they are startled by a fallen sculpture. Roselia explains to her partner named Regina that they must be in a burial, and kings have things buried with them. They wonder if they will find a great king buried there, and point out that if it really is the tomb of a king, then he must be pretty lonely. Upon finding a door, Regina fails to open it, and determines that the only way to get in is to smash it open. Roselia is clearly the smarter of the two of them as she notices writing on the door and finds that the door is alive. Regina wonders if they should smash it open anyway, but Roselia stops her. Regina decides to go look around while Roselia Google translates the ancient writing, but Roselia is shocked to see that the door begins to open when she touches it. Roselia, always ready for a gunfight, pulls out her gun and cautiously approaches a strange crystal that ruins her device. She can tell that there is someone inside and decides that she must help them. A look into the past shows when Leonis finally found the rebellion goddess named Roselia, the one he made a promise to. The flashback is during the war, and he explained to her that the heroes were destroying the kingdom, so he has decided to seal away his soul to keep his promise to her to find something. She is glad to hear that he still remembers, and she begins to leave. Leonis tries to stop her from leaving him, but she simply tells him to find her in the future. Back to the present, we see that Roselia has decided to free the trapped person and seems to think that the best way to help is by shooting several bullets directly at the trapped person's head. Inside the crystal, Leonis wakes up and questions what all the noise is. He is furious since the tomb was supposed to be completely sealed, but he determines that the reincarnation ceremony was a success and 1,000 years must have passed. He hears the girl outside and uses language analysis magic to understand what she is saying. She is screaming that she will get him out of there, and Leonis determines that she must be a stupid grave robber. He decides to show her the power of a demon lord, and uses a powerful incantation to break free from the crystal. Leonis decides that this girl must be punished for her wrongdoing, but stops when she wakes up to ask what a child is doing there. Leonis is then shocked to find that he is a small boy and wonders if the reincarnation failed. Leonis used a spell to rebuild his body to a previous form, but this form was supposed to be his Demon Lord form. However, his new body is his old human form from before he became the Demon Lord. This is the form he had when he was a human hero, the one known as Leonis the Brave. Roselia checks his body to make sure that he isn't injured, and tells him that everything is okay now and she will protect him. Leonis is furious to see such disrespectful treatment toward a Demon Lord, but eventually finds comfort and he passes out. Sometime later, Leonis eats some cookies Roselia gave him, and he resents his new body for fainting from hunger. He also hates his body for feeling so comfortable after getting a hug, but acknowledges that this girl he just met might have saved his life. Roselia introduces herself as a 15-year-old knight of the Seven Souls Swordsman Training Academy, and asks Leonis who he is. Leonis has no clue what she is talking about, but realizes that she clearly thinks he is some innocent little kid, and declares that he will just use her to get information about today's world. He starts off by telling her his name, Leonis, as he thinks about how a demon lord doesn't need to lie about his name, since it's a proud name that was given to him by a special person. Roselia tells him his name is adorable and calls him Leo. This infuriates him since his name is not supposed to be adorable, and it used to represent chaos and terror. Roselia assumes that Leonis was locked up there by the Void, but he explains that he has no clue what the Void are. She states that the Void is an enemy of mankind that suddenly appeared 64 years ago. Its purpose is unknown, but they are said to have appeared from another world. They attack humans relentlessly, so knights like herself wield swords to protect humanity. Leonis is perplexed by this since back in his day, the enemies of mankind were demons like him, and this makes him realize that his history as the Demon Lord must have been forgotten or erased. She explains that she is there to investigate a void nest, and Leonis realizes that she just found him by accident. Just then, they hear a large explosion, and Regina tells her that she has engaged with a large void manifestation. Roselia quickly protects Leonis from the collapsing room and vows to keep him safe. An ogre-class void breaks into the room, so Roselia prepares her gun with a limit release. Leonis finally sees what a void is, but decides that he won't tolerate any more violence in the great mausoleum where his friends sleep. Leonis, the great demon lord, master of ancient and forbidden spells, begins to weave a tapestry of words that ripple through the fabric of reality itself, all with the intention of erasing the ogre from this world. However, he trips and falls flat on his face. Leonis condemns his weak human body, and Roselia fears that her weapon isn't strong enough to defeat the void. Luckily for them, the monster's arm gets blasted off, and we see that Regina has come to rescue them with her bazooka. Regina wonders who the little dweeb is, but Roselia tells her that she will tell her later. The void isn't done yet, so Regina changes the mode on her weapon. Leonis can't tell what kind of weapon it is, but determines that it's not a spell, and Regina uses it to punch a hole right through the void. The void, despite having a hole where its chest should be, is still alive, so Regina tells Roselia to take the nerd and get to safety. As they run, Leonis thinks about how everything is going wrong. The reincarnation didn't go as planned since he has been reduced to a fragile mortal. His kingdom is far from restored and his castle is being vandalized by monsters. Leonis is sure he could easily defeat these creatures, but he doesn't want to show his powers. This is because Roselia is the source of information on this new world, and it's easier to use her if his true identity as the Demon Lord is hidden. Just then, they encounter a Wyvern-class void. Roselia is terrified though, as she points out that it's much different than the wyvern she has seen before. She tells Leonis to run away and transforms her gun into a sword, because why fight from a distance when you can put yourself in danger with close quarter combat? Leonis then thinks that it can't be helped. He is a forgiving demon lord, but he has his limits. He once again begins a powerful spell that will surely end the fight, but Roselia seems to think that it would be better to push him to the ground. She turns her attention to the void, but it gravely injures her. Leonis goes to her side and questions why she sacrificed her life for him. She has no answer for him and simply tells him to find Regina so she can get him out of there. She gets closer to death as another void appears, and she apologizes to Leonis for not being able to protect him. He holds onto her hand as she begins to pass away, but Leonis can't help but think how dumb she was. He was only using her to get information about the world, and she foolishly sacrificed her life for him, even though an attack like that would have done nothing to him. He thinks bravery like she demonstrated is stupid, but admits to himself that he had developed a little bit of a soft spot for the brave girl. This is because she reminded him of when Roselia, the goddess of rebellion, protected him when he was a human hero. The very humans he was trying to protect ended up betraying him, so he became the Demon Lord. Several voids surround Leonis, but their attacks are completely useless against the Great Demon Lord's magic barrier. Leonis is annoyed to be a human once more since he has begun to have feelings again. The feeling he has now is anger. Leonis summons his staff and declares that it turns out that the voids all deserve to die. His first spell is a giant gravitational orb that collapses onto one of the void, and he explains that they will all be punished for what they have done. The void attempts to fight it, but Leonis has had enough and crushes the monster. Another one of the brainless creatures tries to attack Leonis as it somehow hasn't realized that it can't penetrate his barrier, so Leonis weaponizes his barrier to send several spikes through the creature. The final void sees that all his boys are getting destroyed and tries to run away. However, Leonis refuses to let it escape and unleashes a devastating fire spell that consumes the void with its flames. Leonis is victorious, but he notices that his attack has left behind the bones of the beast. This never happened before, even against the most powerful monsters in the past, and this makes him realize that in this form, he has at best only 1/3 of the strength he used to have. Leonis returns to Roselia's side to find that she is barely alive. He declares that he is the Great Demon Lord and normally doesn't care about human life. However, he has respect for noble souls. Roselia defended him with her life and he can't deny her spirit. Leonis thinks about how he is not good with using even rudimentary healing spells, but he is a master of all magic dealing with death and decides to do what he can for her. As he returns her blood to her with a spell, he notices a strange mark on her leg. Leonis then wonders if when she finds out the truth about who he is, if she will be angry with him or will she despair. After his spell is complete, she lies unconscious, and we see that Regina is trying to frantically send her a message. Leonis hears this and determines that it's a remote talking magical tool. He has no clue how it works, but is impressed that mankind's magical technology has developed so much. Just then, Roselia wakes up and Leonis greets her. She instantly gets up to thank God that Leonis is safe, and he thinks about how strange that is since normally people worry about themselves first. Roselia is shocked to be alive since she is certain she was cut through her stomach, but Leonis explains that her wound wasn't as deep as it looked, so he healed it with sacred magic. Roselia is confused when he mentions magic, and Leonis remembers that the girls didn't use spells during their fight. It's clear that they can't use spells, so they rely on their weapons that are made with advanced magical techniques. Roselia assumes that when Leonis mentioned magic, he must have been talking about the power of the Holy Sword, but Leonis has no clue what she is talking about. She explains that some holy swords have healing powers. She assumes that Leonis is able to use that power and believes that is why the Void captured him. Of course, Leonis still has no clue what she is talking about, so she explains that the Holy Sword is a power that was awakened by mankind to fight the Void. A few years after the appearance of the Void, humanity was on the verge of losing their battle against them. However, some children began to possess strange powers. Many of them took the form of weapons, and that is why they were called Holy Swords. Regina's Holy Sword is called Draghal. The reason why these weapons came to exist is unknown, but it seems that many of them embody the personality of the wielder. A weapon that embodies the soul. Roselia reveals that she hasn't been given the power of the Holy Sword yet, and Leonis realizes that must be why she was fighting with a magical tool. Leonis knows that his magical power is nothing like what she is talking about, and he decides that it would be best to keep it a secret from everyone. Just then, Regina returns and she wonders what happened to the Void that attacked them. Leonis lies by stating that he was shaking from fear of the terrifying monsters, but before he knew it, they were just gone. For some unknown reason, the girls just believe him, and they all leave the ruins on a motorcycle. As they ride away, Regina wonders what's up with the kid since he looks like he was abandoned for being a wimp. Roselia explains that he was captured by the Void and his memories are all messed up. Regina continues to tease him during the entire trip and thinks that he might regain his memories if they startle him in some way. Leonis objects to her behavior and questions to himself how an immortal demon lord could be teased by such a girl. They near their destination and Roselia explains that it's the last fortress of mankind built to fight the Void. It is the Garden of the Seven Sacred Swords Academy. Leonis is amazed by the place and realizes that this is the new world, 1,000 years removed from his world. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.